Welcome back to day 5 of your 10-day mindfulness commitment. And good job for making it this far. You're almost halfway there, at least when we're done with the day. So today, the theme of the day is the word effort. And effort is quite an important word when practicing mindfulness, because when we practice most disciplines, there's a quite clear sort of correlation between the effort you put into learning it and the sort of results you get from learning it, or how good you become at it, right? But with mindfulness, it's a little different. It's not always that more effort means better results or better practice. So sometimes there can be too much effort in mindfulness. So we need to find a balance, which is not too little effort, but not too much effort. And what are these poles and where is the middle point? Let's talk a bit about that. So too little effort means that you're sitting, but all of a sudden you wake up and you notice you've been asleep for 3 hours, right? That's too little effort. And if you get sleepy during your practice, or if you feel like you're a bit too drowsy, it can be a good tip to maybe straighten up your back a bit, maybe sit against the wall, sit in a chair instead of lying down if you're doing that. Just sort of try and keep your body a little erected like that can be a tip. But there's also a thing that's called too much effort, which is probably more relevant for most of you. And too much effort means when we're trying really, really hard, to focus on the breathing. And often that shows, at least for me and maybe for some of you, by tensing in the forehead, right? We're sitting like this. Whereas true mindfulness, if you can say so, should really be this middle point where it's almost effortless effort. We use that word effortless effort because it feels effortless. It's just observing. It's like going to the cinema, right? We've been talking about this. You only have to show up and just look. The rest will happen by itself, right? But just you looking, staying aware and observant is all it takes. So for a lot of you, trying to use a little bit less effort can be a good tip. And I'll try and remind you of that today when we practice, and remind you that if you are tensing up in the forehead, just sort of relaxing a little bit and just noticing. It's a bit like with the mind making a mental exhale, as I call it, like just with the mind, right? Just resting the mind. So let's try and incorporate that into our practice today. So you know how it goes. Get comfortable, and we'll do a little bit of mindful practice together now. All right, so starting with eyes open, just notice where you are right now, what's in your field of view, without looking for anything in particular, but just noticing what's already there. We're going to take some deep breaths together. And one more. And you know how it goes. Last one here. And allowing the eyes to close. And just settling into sitting here. We'll do that by becoming aware of the physical contact with the seat. Hands in your lap. Maybe your feet on the ground. Clothes in your skin, whatever might be relevant for you. Just noticing that contact. Noticing any sounds. And trying to keep this very effortless. Any smell, any taste. And just sort of tuning into being here right now. And remembering that this is your time. This should feel comfortable and relaxed. So if you're tensing up, just let go a little bit. Just mentally lean back a little. Do a mental exhale, all right? So just like we did yesterday, you're gonna scan down through your body alone in the next 20 to 30 seconds, starting at the top of your head and gently moving down through the body, noticing any areas that feel comfortable, uncomfortable, without changing anything, but just building a picture of how the body feels. Not getting stuck anywhere, just continuing down through the body. And all the way out through the legs to the feet and the toes. Right. And similar to checking in with the body, we're going to check in with the mind here. Again, keeping it low effort, almost effortless. It's almost as if the moment I'm asking what sort of emotions and feelings are present, you've already done the exercise. It's already present for you. Maybe you don't have a word to label it, but you're aware. That's what we're looking for. All right. Excellent. So, bringing the awareness now back to the body and becoming aware of the breath and the movement of the chest. And yes, you've tried this before, but try and see if it's any different today. Just bring that curiosity as if it was your first time ever becoming aware of the breath. The chest rising and falling on inhales and exhales. And try and relax your forehead a little bit. Just notice how that feels. Keeping a very, very minimal effort here. It's almost like non-doing. Effortless effort. Just notice. It's like being in the cinema. We're going to stay with the breath for some minutes. And if you'd like to, you can count them like we've done before. If you prefer not, totally up to you. Do what feels right. But staying with the breath and the movement of the chest. Effortless effort. When you find that your mind starts drifting, you're distracted by something, either thinking or something that takes your mind away, just noticing the distraction and with as little effort as possible, coming back to the breath and the movement of the chest. Always coming back to the breath You notice you've been distracted. And for a moment now, just letting completely go of that effort, of any effort, of trying to stay with the breath. And just allow the mind to do what it wants to do. Complete freedom of the mind. And bringing back the awareness to the body. Noticing the contact with the seat, clothes on your skin, any sounds, any smell, any taste, and anything that might bring you back into this room and into being here again. And when you're ready, in your own time, you can just slowly open your eyes up. Take a moment to notice how it feels. And maybe I like to do that sometimes after a practice. Just notice, does my forehead feel tense or does it feel relaxed? If you've been sitting and tensing it up for a long time, you can feel it now after the practice. It's not something we should put a lot of effort into changing, but it's something that by becoming aware of it, we automatically let go a little bit. Just relax into practicing mindfulness. Because even though we're learning a new skill here, it should really feel comfortable and easy and like effortless effort. So I hope that makes some sense for you to incorporate this idea of effort. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in one of the following days. So I'll see you again for day 6.